VCI presents some of the most popular children's characters available to buy on video. Introducing without further ado, that little locomotive with its colour so blue. All aboard, if you please, for Britt Holcroft's Thomas the Tank Engine and friends. Hold tight, everyone, and take a ride on your favourite railway line. Here it comes, with Thomas the Tank Engine and all his wonderful friends. My branch line is the pride of the line. No engines ever felt prouder than those on the Fat Controller's railway. And now you can sing along with Thomas too.
It's Thomas the Tank Engine, hip 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 hooray. Chugga chugga chug chug chuff chuff chuff, he rides along the way.
Your favourite story collection, story and song collection, and the biggest ever Christmas collection.
Our favourite little engine, Thomas is his name.
When Sir Handel was let out of his shed, he was on his best behaviour. He was polite to both coaches and trucks. He wasn't even arrogant. Most of the time. One day the Fat Controller came to the sheds with a letter in his hand. The engines watched him anxiously. He spoke to Skarloey. "Do you remember your twin Taddy Clin?" he asked. "Of course," replied Skarloey. "Is there news from him?" "Well, unfortunately he is ill. His controller is short of a replacement. Now, I can't spare anyone until Duke is mended, but I want to suggest to him that one of us might..." The yard became a ruckus. "Oh, please, me, sir." No, me. I want to mind going. Don't be so impatient. "I was thinking of you, Skarloey," the Fat Controller suggested. Skarloey felt a little embarrassed. "Oh, I'd love to, sir, but, my twin wouldn't want me to see him in need of repair. Perhaps Sir Handel could take my place." "Very well then, Sir Handel, you shall go." Sir Handel was excited. That evening, Duke said his goodbyes to the engines before he went to the works. "Now no misbehaving whilst I'm gone. Understood?" "We could say the same to you." "Now you make sure you rest up quickly." "It's a good job you're not going to Norrenby. Your cheek would not be welcome in his Grace's presence, Sir Handel." And he set off, tutting to himself. "I hope he comes back soon." "So do I," said Sir Handel gleefully. Weeks passed and still Duke hadn't returned. Sir Handel became even more impatient. "Where's Grandpuff got to? I have important places to be." "Don't be so impatient," his driver laughed. "Your repairs took a long time too, remember? And Duke is a fair bit older than you." "Perhaps too old," Sir Handel muttered as Gordon came into the station. "I've been invited to Wales," he said before Gordon had even stopped. "When do you go?" asked Gordon. "Not until Duke is back." "Quite right," said Gordon grandly. "It's a great responsibility being indispensable." Sir Handel felt very proud, although he didn't know what Gordon had said. "Gordon says I'm, insensible," he boasted to the coaches the next day. The coaches tittered, but Sir Handel didn't notice. It was the first day of summer. When Sir Handel reached the top station, his coaches were packed and he was rather exhausted. An enormous crowd was waiting on the platform for the last train home. They must have come on earlier trains and stayed to picnic, said the fireman. Never mind, we'll be alright. It's all downhill from here on. But at the station near the waterfall, the platform was full again.
We need a shoehorn to get them all in,
exclaimed the guard, looking up and down the platform.
Still, we'll have to do it somehow. Some of the passengers can travel with me and Beatrice.
The passengers had had a good day and were just happy to be able to go home. They knew the trip wouldn't be long and that Sir Handel would do his best to get to Henry in time. The guard always checked the tickets at this station, but today it took a long time. Sir Handel was growing impatient. An insensible engine like me shouldn't keep Henry waiting like this, he fumed to his driver.
Can't be helped. Henry'll just have to wait. It's not like he's never been late.
At last the guard was ready. He blew his whistle, waved his green flag and turned towards Beatrice.
We should give him some time to get in. It's not usually so tight for them,
suggested the driver. He had plenty of time, scoffed Sir Handel, and quickly the train began to move. The guard tried to board Beatrice, but her doorway was blocked by passengers. By the time they had moved to let him in, the train was out of the station. He tried to stop the train, but Sir Handel wasn't paying attention. Beatrice tried to stop, but she couldn't. She was missing her guard. Luckily, one of the passengers pressed the button, and a buzzer sounded in Sir Handel's cab. His driver braked hard, and Sir Handel groaned to a halt. Now what? Perhaps we've left someone behind. I'll go and find out. They had, of course, and they soon discovered who it was. The passengers helped the guard get on board, and after a fast run, Sir Handel's train reached the terminus at the same time as Henry. Sir Handel stopped with a sigh of relief. The guard came along to see him. I'm sorry I was impatient, Sir Handel said to the guard. I didn't want to be late bringing Henry's passengers. Insensible engines shouldn't be late, should they?
No,
agreed the guard.
But sensible engines know that patience is a virtue. Remember that next time.
I'll try, promised Sir Handel sadly. He stayed patient until, at long last, Duke returned from the works. The engines tooted goodbye as Sir Handel puffed proudly off to Tullyclyn. The morning after Sir Handel had gone away, the Fat Controller spoke to the other engines. Sir Handel's absence means you shall all have to do a little bit more work. Peter, Sam and Rheneas, will you take over Sir Handel's truck work? Of course, sir.
We'll do our best,
promised the engines. Duncan smirked. He was glad he didn't have to take them. As for you, Duncan, announced the Fat Controller as he spun round to face Duncan, I need you to take the morning passenger train. Bah! Cried out Duncan. Passengers under restarts. If passengers can't satisfy you, Duncan, then I'm sure I can sort you out with some truck work instead. Although we all know how you like to stay cleaned and polished. Duncan just wheezed crossly. Now Duncan was not the politest of engines at the best of times, and early morning certainly did him no favours. Get in quickly, no! He ordered as soon as he stopped to the station. I'm a busy engine and I've got no time for dawdling. Now the passengers were grumpy too. They became grumpier still as he rocked and rolled along the track. Get rid of them, get rid of them, he chanted. At the next station, the passengers complained about what a horrid engine he was. And me Sir Handel, he knows how to take a train. Duncan just grumbled under his breath. When's that impatient puffer coming back? Duncan muttered crossly. He saw Rusty and some hedge cutters. They were very busy trimming trees and bushes and putting the branches into trucks. But to Duncan, he didn't think they were working hard at all. Stop daydreaming and do some work, Duncan demanded. This is an important job, replied Rusty, a little offended. Without me, your passenger runs would be very uncomfortable. Duncan didn't understand what Rusty meant. Pah, twigs couldn't hurt me, he retorted as he puffed away. Later that day, Duncan's run was going smoothly. His coaches were full, the rails were dry, and they were making good time. When they passed through the bridge, however, they stopped. There in front of him were some blown hedge cuttings that had been swept up by the wind. His crew got out to investigate. We'll never get through that lot, exclaimed the fireman. Ha! Don't tell me you believe Rusty's silly tales, laughed Duncan. Fine, have it your way then, warned the driver. If we stop to clear the track, we'll be late. As Duncan got closer, he saw the cutting spikes. He became a little nervous, but all the same, he puffed bravely onwards. As he puffed carefully along, the branches slid aside. Then he came to a stretch where the cuttings were brambles. Duncan began to regret his boasting. Not only were the thorns prickly, but they started to get caught in each other, and the branches stayed firmly put. Ouch! Exclaimed Duncan suddenly, and stopped. I can't move, he complained. His fireman got out to check. It's no good, he said at last. You've got brambles caught in your valve gear, and steam can't get into your cylinders. We shall have to cut you out. Duncan shuddered. He shut his eyes and prepared for the worst. The fireman put on thick gloves. Then, while he tried to clear what he could, the driver went to ask the guard if he had a knife. Some of the passengers had knives too and came to help, but even then the job took longer than expected, and by the time Duncan was freed, there was no hope of getting the passengers round the lake and back in time. Duncan's driver apologised to the passengers, but they didn't mind. We enjoy the adventure, they laughed. The driver then rang the Fat Controller, who immediately sent Rusty off to clear the line. He returned that night with a long line of trucks. You can run your train normally now, Rusty proudly announced to Duncan. Duncan was relieved. Oh, thank you, he said. Without you, my journeys would be a thorn in your side, suggested Rusty. Exactly, exclaimed Duncan. The next morning, Duncan arrived feeling much happier. Thank you all for the help yesterday. I'm sorry I was rude. I promised not to rock and roll. Well, I'll try not to anyway. Duncan was true to his word. He made occasional slip-ups, but most of the time he glided the rails smoothly. Thank you for the smooth ride. I hope you're taking my train home as well. Duncan smiled and had to admit that perhaps not all passengers were bad. It had been a long time since his old friend had left for Tallyclin.
I remember when Sir Handel and I were as thick as thieves, he sighed. Now it's just me.
Don't be silly, Sir Handel will be back soon, confronted Rusty. And anyway, it'll be summer soon, that will keep you busy enough. Peter Sam wasn't so sure.
I suppose,
he said. But Rusty was right. Before long, summer had arrived, and Peter Sam was too busy to miss anyone. A party of scouts had set up tents in a field beside the line. They were constantly bustling about, but they always had time to wave at engines as they passed. They've gone for their annual camp, explained Peter Sam's driver. It's a sort of holiday for them. Fat controllers allowed them to work on the railway.
That's a funny holiday,
laughed Peter Sam.
Oh, if only Sir Handel could see him, he'd have such a shock.
He most likely has, laughed the driver in reply. They do all the same at the Tallyclin Railway. It's how most of the work gets done. Anyway, the scouts are mainly going to fix some of the ditches for us. Peter Sam was very pleased.
That's good. We won't have to slow down as much when it's wet and frosty. I hope there's something we can do for them.
Each day the sun shone and it became hotter and hotter. It was even too hot for the holiday makers to lie on a beach. Every train was as full as the last. The scouts were hot too. They rested thankfully as trains passed, but more of them stopped waving as the week wore on. On a final day of camp, Peter Sam travelled uphill with his last train. He was looking forward to a rest under the trees at the top station. As Peter Sam neared the place where the scouts were working, he whistled to warn them he was coming. Then he saw a figure crossing the line in front of the train. Peter Sam's driver put a hand on the brake. "Steady on," he warned. "It looks as if the scout leader wants us to stop for something." Peter Sam drew gently to a halt and the leader climbed up the step of the cab. "Is anything wrong?" the driver asked anxiously. "Not yet," replied the leader. "But I'm afraid there might be unless these boys have a drink. Can you drop off some pop or something when you next pass, please?" "We'd be happy to. We'll ask the refreshment lady when we reach her station." But when the driver came back from the refreshment room, he had a long face. "Not a bottle to be had," he moaned to Peter Sam. "Everyone's just as thirsty as the scouts." So now what? Peter Sam didn't know. He thought so hard that he began to feel thirsty himself. Then suddenly an idea came to him.
There's a shop near the station by the lake. Perhaps the lady there could...
"Of course," interrupted the fireman excitedly.
Quickly, if we leave now, we might make it there in time.
While the station master telephoned the shop lady to warn her they were coming, Peter Sam set off. The lady met them at the station.
"I haven't much myself,"
she said,
"but the lads are welcome to what there is."
A little later, the scouts heard a whistle, and there, puffing triumphantly, was Peter Sam. He stopped beside him and his driver handed down the drinks. The scouts started to cheer him on. It wasn't me, it was Peter Sam's idea. So they cheered again and thanked Peter Sam instead.
"It's nothing. You're helping us. It's only fair we should help you too."
Once Peter Sam had cooled down, he returned to the sheds. At the sight of him, Rusty started to beam. "You look tired," he laughed.
"It's been an eventful day."
"Well," started Rusty, "it's about to be a lot more eventful. Good things come to those who wait, and Sir Handel is on his way home." Peter Sam grinned from buffer to buffer. Things were only going to get even more exciting. One evening, the engines were very quiet in the shed. They were waiting excitedly for Sir Handel to come home.
Where is he?
Worried Peter Sam. Skarloey began to laugh. Oh no, not this again, he said. Duke was confused. Not what again? Ah, yes, well, you wouldn't know, he giggled. Well, I'll tell you. And Skarloey began to tell the story. Long before you were found, Peter Sam became weary. He talked about you wherever he went. One day he told Duck, the Great Western Engine, I'm afraid there aren't any Dukes anymore. They were wonderful, but now they've all been scrapped. Duck explained. Peter Sam was horrified. This is dreadful, he wailed.
The Fat Controller said he was coming to visit us to open a line, but now he's been scrapped. It'll ruin Skarloey and Reneus's birthday too,
he said sadly as he left the station. But at the sheds we weren't so sure. I think Duck's heard it all wrong. We engines argued till the Fat Controller arrived to stop the noise. Silence! He shouted. I've no time for this nonsense. Now. Skarloey, you will meet the Duke at 11 instead of 10:30. If there is a Duke. We felt much better the next morning as our crew sang us happy birthday and we engines joined in with our whistles. Then we happily set to work. Peter Sam arrived first with a television train. We took pictures of Reneus and the passengers who weren't too far behind. Then the camera crew got out and filmed me arriving with a very important guest. It's a shame that the Duke can't be here, said Reneus sadly, but I wasn't disappointed at all. I told you the Duke would come, I said as out stepped a well-distinguished man. We got into my cab and we set off down the lakeside. When we returned, the Duke officially opened the line and congratulated the Fat Controller on a fine railway. Peter Sam was now very confused. But where's Duke? He asked. I am the Duke. Now, I heard you spoke to an engine who said we'd all been scrapped. Your friend, however, was talking about the engines, not us actual Dukes. Peter Sam became worried all over again. Then perhaps our Duke really is scrapped, he said sadly. But luckily, here you stand, as proud and strong as ever, finished Peter Sam. Then Rusty spoke up. And just in time too, he announced excitedly. Here comes Sir Handel. Sir Handel puffed into the yard looking very proud. The engines whistled in celebration. It's good to have you back, said Peter Sam excitedly. It's good to be back, Sir Handel replied. Did anything exciting happen? We had a visit from royalty, announced Sir Handel. I didn't get to pull their train, but they did call me a fine engine. They said they'd heard about me in books, but I'm not sure what he meant at all. Speaking of tales, did I miss anything? The engines told him all about their adventures. Sir Handel laughed. I guess the lines aren't too different. I had adventures just like those, except I hit a tree and had to wear an eye patch. Luckily, soon after that, your brother was well again, he said to Skarloey, and he began to tell the engines all about his time on the Tallyclyn Railway. Peter, Sam and Duke listened to every word. They had missed their old friend.
And now tonight, a feature presentation from the Skarloey Railway.